Hello friends and welcome to PlumeriaPlay. Today we are building an all orange townhouse in The Sims. This is going to be a house for like a singer and dancer. For those of you who maybe aren't Swifties, you do not need to be a Swiftie to watch this build, but Taylor Swift just announced her newest album and it has a very orange theme. So I thought this would be a fun build to do like kind of an inspiration of that. But with that out of the way, let's hop into the speed build. We are building this in the world of Del Sol Valley. It is a 20 by 20 lot that is originally a park lot. It's I think the Ward Park, so like the Judith Ward Park. And it's right across the street from the Orchid A Go Go lounge. And so in my head, we want this building to look kind of like an apartment. It ends up being a home for a single sim, but it's made to look like a small apartment building here. And my storyline is that our sim that lives here is a showgirl because the album is called Life of a Showgirl. And she works, or he works, at the Orchid A Go Go lounge. I really love that storyline, and I hope that you do too. Now for the challenging part, the all orange portion. You're gonna see me here go through a bunch of orange swatches, and my rule was if it was not under the orange category, we could not use it. But that's a little bit sneaky because as you can kind of see, there's like almost a pinky color on the front of the building right now, but the game classified it as orange. And honestly, I'm kind of sad that this is a speed build. I still think it works as a speed build, but I had originally filmed this as like a talk it out with you as I built it build, but the audio was like really bad. My mic went through an update and I didn't realize it like reverted the settings, and you can just hear like the roar of a fan in the background the whole time. So I'm so sorry. You definitely didn't want to watch that. Unfortunately, that happened with two separate videos, this one and a no mistakes challenge, which I plan to revisit the no mistakes challenge because that's not really one that you can turn into a speed build because you really need to hear the thought process and like see the mistakes happen in real time. So if you happen to go on my gallery and see an absolutely atrocious build with an atrocious roofline called the no mistakes build, that's what happened there because you won't see the video of it, unfortunately. I probably will show it off whenever we try to like redo it because there are a few things that I have kind of learned from my mistakes now on the no mistakes build, but let me know if you want to see that. But right now we're kind of getting our floor plan laid out. This ends up just being a 1-bedroom, 2-bath apartment actually. So the way it's gonna go is on the bottom floor, it's our kitchen, living, dining, and a little bathroom downstairs, just because I like to have accessible bathrooms. The second floor, we're gonna have like a very open concept bedroom. I felt like since this was a Taylor Swift inspired build, I had to give our sim a cat. So we do end up with a little cat space on the second floor as well. And then since our sim is a showgirl, I felt like she needed to have a nice closet with like a vanity table situation, maybe like a mirror with like all the little bubble lights kind of thing. And then on the very top floor is our showgirl's working space. So we have a place for them to practice, record, make music. I have a dance floor for them to practice their dancing skills. And it's just a really fun build, honestly. Orange is a really hard color to do an all one color of in The Sims. So there are some things that I would change if given the option to use all the colors, but I really like the way that this ended up feeling and the way that the colors ended up mixing. So I really hope that you enjoy it too. I certainly wouldn't call myself an orange hater, but I don't think it's one of my favorite colors. Honestly, the Cozy Kitsch came in so nicely in this build, so we do use a few items from that. I did end up using this really fun print. The cat was what made me use it because once again, like kind of a Taylor Swift inspired build. And then of course we're getting plants everywhere. The egg painting does end up ending up in the build, but it does not stay there on the wall because I kind of decided to lay the kitchen out a little bit differently than I had originally planned, just to make it a tad bit bigger because the space kind of felt odd, but I think it's gonna stay right there by the stairs, so it'll be like right near the dining room. I honestly loved this like kind of sherbet orange kitchen. Unfortunately, I cheated just a little bit. This one isn't actually labeled as orange, but I think it's definitely orange. It's oranger than some of the other orange swatches that are categorized under orange, in my opinion. So I did decide to overlook it there. There's actually a couple of things in this game that I feel very strongly are orange that are not tagged as orange. Like I really wanted to do a hanging clothes rack in our closet upstairs, and there are no rags classified as orange. But I do end up finding one that I feel very strongly was orange. So I did decide to allow it. But like when you see it, you'll see how orange it is. So I feel like some of the difficulty in doing an all orange build is like the lack of good classification of items. But you can kind of see the downstairs coming together really nicely now. We are using my favorite base game curtains. I really kind of liked the little pop of yellow. Maybe that was a bit cheaty, but it was classified as orange, so it felt like fair game. I have this bad habit of forgetting to put windows on the side of the building, and that happened again here. So I do like the front facade to make sure I like the way it looks from the road and like the front of the gallery picture. And then I just completely forget to add curtains elsewhere. I don't know what, not curtains, windows. I completely forget to add them. I've got to work on that, okay? Like that's a very, very bad habit of mine, is to forget to put windows until later. So now we're working on our entryway space though, and there are a shocking lack of orange items that are classified as entryway. So I ended up with like a home phone and like a phone with keys on a little sideboard table, like they were about to walk out of the door or something. I really, really, really like those phones that we got from the event. I wish so bad that they would give them some functionality. Like even if all they did was add like a click and you could call somebody, that would make me really happy. Like I feel like you should be able to call like Sims that you know and maybe like order food deliveries. Like that's all I'm asking for, and I want it so, so bad. Please, Sims team, if you somehow stumble across this video, give me functional house phones. I want them. Just a call button's all I need, okay? But now we are up in our bedroom space. I do end up with this bed. I love the color scheme, and I kind of like that a lot of the things that were classified as orange had like little pops of like blues and pinks on them. So we end up with not like a totally orange house, even though like when you look at this house, like it's orange, you know what I mean? When you look at it from a top down, you're like, yeah, that is an all orange house. And of course I had to get an orange tree. That made me so happy to put down. But then we kind of had this awkward landing space that I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do here. Unfortunately, the only orange cat tree that we have is that one that you just saw that was like kind of dark and neon. So our poor kitty doesn't have a tree, okay? But I got it a friend hamster instead. And I thought personally that that was a decent compromise. I don't know how friendly cats and hamsters are. Probably not that friendly, but maybe. I don't know. I'm sure there's some cats out there that are friends with like rodents. So if you have a cat that's a friend with some kind of rodent, let me know in the comments, just so I can validate that I did that. It's okay. But we just put together that bathroom, and now we are on to our closet space, where I also have our kitty's litter box. Closets aren't something I usually put in my Sims build, but it felt really appropriate for a showgirl style build. Like the Sim definitely cares what they look like. They need to make sure that they're well put together, that they're glamorous. So I just wanted to kind of show that in this build. And that is the rack that I put down that is not classified as orange, that is definitely orange. Like if that's not orange, like what is orange? You know what I mean? So I did use that. I think maybe now that I'm looking at it in the speed build, it debatably leans like a little yellow, but I still see orange, okay? I still see it. But this is the closet. It's super simple. We've got a vanity. There were no orange vanities, so I did cheat there a little bit too, but this is like very orange toned wood, so I thought it worked as well. And now we are moving upstairs into our showgirls like talent room, I guess is what you'd call it. I'm putting down an orange dance floor. We're gonna get a microphone, a guitar, a piano. And here I do bend the rules a little bit, because I felt like if I could get something that was at least orange leaning that fit our storyline, then I would allow it. So technically like the piano and the microphone aren't orange, but I felt very strongly that more than they needed to be orange, this upstairs space needed to fit our storyline. So there's a few things like that here that, once again, I maybe cheated a little bit. I obviously explained myself better in the real-time build that I can't use because of the audio, but I did justify it, okay? And I think even now it's pretty justified for functionality, and it's still all very orange leaning. Like we used the gold mic, like technically that gold mic, the swatch looks orange when you click on it, but obviously it's gold. But we added these little boards here from Cozy Kitsch too. They're technically bookcases, but we added some clutter and then some lights, not lights. Well, we do add lights. Also, the disco ball is technically not orange, but I did change it to be an orange color. So I thought that that was a fair compromise as well. But I think this is such a fun space. Obviously, if you didn't want to have this be a showgirl and you wanted to put another sim living in this top area, you could definitely do that. So if you wanted to make this like more bedrooms, you absolutely could. Like you could just have this whole upstairs be a bedroom or two, which I thought would be kind of nice. But I really like the storyline that we had going for like our showgirl sim. Like honestly, it's making me want to play with Get Famous and try to make a famous singer. So it always feels really good when my builds like inspire me to want to play certain kinds of gameplay. I really like that. But now we're doing the patios, and since I wanted it to look like an apartment facade from the front, I just kind of put random stuff out on the balconies so they look like they belong to individual sims. Obviously, they all belong to this sim, and that's fine. But I did want it to like have the feel of an apartment building from the outside. And the landscaping is another place where I allow myself to not use all orange. So I'm allowing myself green and orange on the outside, which at the time that I did this build, we knew the name of the album and that it was going to be announced, but the podcast that they did, like where she actually announced the album, wasn't out quite yet. So technically, the album's very like orange and green, like orange in like a mint color. So I feel more justified now in the blues that are mixed in here in this build. But at the time, the only thing that we had was like the sparkly lock. If you're a Swiftie, you'll know what that means. If not, just know like I didn't have all the information at the time of this build. But of course, we're using orange flowers. And since this is like kind of in the middle of a city, we did very like structured and like garden planter plants because it just doesn't make a lot of sense to have like wild landscaping in the middle of like LA downtown or Del Sol Valley downtown, but obviously it's inspired by LA. And I feel very strongly when you look at this build, it does read super orange because obviously it is super orange, but also these are classified as orange. We can all agree those are definitely yellow, but I'm telling you, they're orange. And we were able to get a billboard, which looked really good, especially because like when you tilt the camera, there's a bunch of billboards in the back. So it really made it feel like it fit in to the world around it, which I love, of course. Because the orange tile that I have put down on the floor doesn't exactly make it feel like it fits in. Although I don't know if you see it, there is some like orangey colored brick out in the front. So it doesn't stand out as much as you'd think. But at this point, we're just getting a few little final touches to make it feel like a real apartment building. And that's pretty much it. So let's go tour this lot. So we built this lot in the world of Del Sol Valley, and it goes right here on this little park lot. The Orchid A Go Go is right here, and also the Studio PvP lounge is right here. So I feel like you could tell a story of a sim who is working here, but like wants to ultimately work here at this lounge. And here is our all orange apartment build, or all orange house build. But obviously you can tell it looks a little bit like an apartment. You can see too this billboard right here. Like when you go down, look at all the billboards in the back. I kind of love that the apartment building also has its own like billboard that they're advertising for. But right when you walk in down here at the bottom, this is our little entryway. So here's the little phone I talked about for a bit, and the phone and keys, like they're headed out the door. We've got an adorable little dining room space here. Over in this corner, we have our kitchen. I did go with very minimal clutter here. I didn't really feel like the sim would have a lot of clutter in their home. And then right across the way from that is our all orange living room space. I even gave them a little orange gaming console, so they definitely have some nice entertainment here in this house. And then if you go through this door, we have a bathroom here. So we've got a shower downstairs and a tub upstairs, because the only orange shower tub combo, I didn't really love it all that much. So heading upstairs, you're met with our little landing that is fit for our kitty cat. We've got food bowls, a bed, and some toys over here, and their pet hamster that they have. So hopefully that's okay with you. Obviously, if you're not doing all orange, replace this with a cat treat of your choosing. And then if you go around this corner, we have our cozy little bedroom space that has a small door that leads into this little bathroom that has the tub. I like this orange better. It's more of like a sherbet pastel orange. It kind of reads a little bit more pinky too, I think, but I still feel like it has the orange vibes. And then if you come across this way, there's a door right here that leads you into our little studio closet. So they've got their clothes that they can then look in the mirror to make sure everything looks good. And then they can do their hair and makeup here at this little vanity table. And then up those stairs, we are met with our little studio space. Our sim can practice all their music and instruments right here. they can practice all their dancing here on this giant dance floor. Also, a great party house, if that's the story you want to tell here. Like, this is a fun little party house. And then if you go down this little hallway type area that the stairs create, we've got our office space where they have a cute little computer, but also a music making station. So I figure this sim probably is into a lot of different kinds of music and whatnot. And then just some other little details outside are all of the patio. So on the back, we've got a telescope, a bike, and a little like couch, an outdoor couch. And then on the front, we've got the little grilled cheese chairs and then some little garden pots here that you can have your sim use for some extra cash. Our little mailbox is here in the front. And then other than that, we just kind of put some little benches around to give it more of a like in the middle of downtown feel, more apartment style build feel. And we've got the orange trash cans here in the back as well. That is the entire build all done. It is already up on the gallery for you. It's called the Starlit Studio, and that's because we were doing like a showgirl kind of build, but it is already there for you. It does use an aggressive amount of packs, but that's just about the only way to do an all orange build, unfortunately. Also, just because I mentioned it in the speed build, this is the no mistakes build that I was talking about, and you can already see like back here, the roof line is bad, and it only uses base game. So if you want to go get this and like give it a bit of a makeover, I think the inside of the house is pretty solid as far as the no mistakes goes. There's a few things like toilets, papers placed too high on the wall and stuff like that. But the roofing was where mistakes were made. But on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this speed build. I know I really enjoyed building this build. It's always fun to do a color challenge. It's probably my favorite build challenge to do. But if you made it this far in the video, let me know your favorite build challenges down in the comments. We also just introduced memberships to the YouTube channel. And so I want to give a big shout out and thank you to our very first member, Jilly. Thank you so much. If you are interested in joining the YouTube membership, you can find that link in the description below, but absolutely no pressure. Every video will still be free to everybody. This just gives you a little tag by your name, some bear emotes that you can use, and a shout out at the end of every video. But as always, I thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have the best rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.